Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I am reacting to Legacy of Kain, Turel, a character study by Strictly Fantasy. If you want to check out my other reactions to the other Legacy of Kain Strictly Fantasy videos, remember the playlist card will be at the top. Just click on it and you'll be able to access them. Guys, I'm a bit sick, so if I sound a bit inaudible, just know that my voice is not really doing so well and I've got like a blocked nose, so yeah. So thank you for understanding. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
No more questions. No more worship. Time to run. Time to scream. Time to die.
When Soul Reaver first released for the PlayStation and PC,
He kind of looked like a bat, with those floppy ears. Or maybe I'm thinking about a creature that I saw in Harry Potter. I forgot the name of the Harry Potter movie. I forgot the name. Prison of Azkaban, maybe. I can't remember. But there was this creature called a hobbit or something. With those big flappy ears that they have. His name was Dobby. Yeah, he looks like Dobby, but a far more vicious, monster-looking Dobby. Yeah. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then you understand why I'm saying this. But yeah, he looks like Dobby.
back in 1999, many astute fans were left wondering a simple but important question. If our protagonist Raziel has 5 vampire brothers, then why does he only fight 4 of them in the game? Turel, second raised of Kain's lieutenants, was originally intended to appear as Soul Reaver's penultimate boss, but was cut due to budget and time constraints. As the leader of Clan Turel, he would have been the 5th and last lieutenant to be battled, before Raziel encountered Kain in a final climactic showdown. In the time before Raziel was labelled a traitor, Turel and his clan oversaw the construction and maintenance of the first smokestacks. This site, which later became known as the Crucible, was a key landmark for Kain's empire, as the various furnaces, chimneys, rivers of lava, and other mechanisms had turned Turel's territory into a thriving industrial complex. The location became such a pivotal place within Nosgoth that it eventually came to house arguably the most impressive technological achievement of the vampire race. I am of course referring to the gargantuan smokestack seen in Soul Reaver's opening cutscene. This huge furnace was devised by the vampires to perpetually belch smoke into the sky, thereby shielding the land from the rays of Nosgoth's sun. Kain therefore must have valued it greatly.
Wait, what? A chimney is creating the smoke to cover up the sunlight? What? Wait, what? What are they burning? What are they burning that would produce such smoke that would blot out the sun on Nosgoth? Well, what are they burning in this chimney, And why haven't the humans tried to destroy this place? Ah, man. That's amazing, but these people are destroying Nosgoth like this, aren't they? Aren't they destroying Nosgoth like this? And then there are people out there, you know who you are, who say that if we kill all the vampires, then Nosgoth would be also, would be destroyed. But these guys are already destroying Nosgoth, No, they have to go. Aye.
As it now gave his armies the means to attack in the daytime. In an early alpha build of the game, Raziel's journey takes him through the colossal furnace on his way towards Kain's mountain retreat. When exploring the smokestack, Raziel would stumble upon a chamber with benches overlooking an arena.
At first I thought he was jumping into the lava.
Though the room seemed vacant, these banners clearly identified it as Turel's audience chamber.
As Raziel inspected the arena further, he was soon cornered by none other than his last surviving brother, preventing him from leaving the room. Though Turel was not present in the retail release, The dialogue recorded between him and Raziel very much exists in the game's audio files.
He's not the same. He's not like the one we saw previously. Yeah.
And his character model also appears in one build.
Leaving so soon, brother?
Let me pass, Turel. I have enough blood on my hands today. My quarrel lies with Kain.
Poor Raziel. Your rage blinds you to the bond of gratitude that we owe our master.
Gratitude? Toward one who would have you grovel at his gate like a dog? You once had noble aspirations, Turel. Now, how humbled are your goals? Do you prosper on the scraps he casts you?
Your insults will do nothing to blunt the agonies of your demise.
You killed me once. Behold the result.
Guys, stop with the fancy English and let's just get on with it, okay? Fight!
I have no more to fear from you. I smell water. Tell me, have you, like Rahab, learned to swim in all these eons?
Taking a moment to digest the dialogue, I find it telling how reserved Raziel is in this scene when he happens across Turel. He's sick and tired of murdering brother after brother. It's as if the fracture side has finally gotten to him. He just wants to find Kain and bring an end to this bloodshed once and for all. If he could, Raziel would have spared Turel here, which is ironic because if the background materials for the multiplayer spin-off Nosgoth are to be believed, then it wasn't Kain who called for the extermination of the Razielim, but Turel, who believed himself to be the rightful heir to Kain's throne. Turel saw the leaderless Razielim as a nuisance that stood in his way to securing ultimate power when Kain disappeared. Throughout Soul Reaver 1, the game alludes to Kain being the one responsible for wiping out the Razielim, and when accused of this, Kain never refutes these allegations. I believe this was done on purpose, to make Kain seem more like a villain than the anti-hero we see in the later titles. The Elder God also offers nothing to Raziel by way of explanation on what really happened to his clan, because he wants Raziel to remain ignorant and vengeful. The more reasons Raziel has to kill Kain, the easier it is for the Elder to manipulate our blue protagonist into doing his bidding.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, everybody, well, not everybody, like, you know, the Elder God here, like, especially him, he would want Raziel to have this anger, this vengeance in him for Kain. You know, he wouldn't want to distract him and give him possible other suspects, you know, who might have destroyed his clan, you know. So I completely agree with this hypothesis on this matter. Yeah.
Going back to the brothers' interaction, I doubt Raziel would have been so willing to let Turel go had he known the full extent of his brother's involvement in the massacre of his clan. Nevertheless, after exchanging a few...
Okay, I'm sorry, but he looks funny in this middle photo here. He really looks so funny with the big ears like this, and you know, and then he's like... No, it's just too much. It's just too much.
Few insults, the two do end up fighting. Unfortunately, Turel remains static and the battle cannot be triggered, but we can guess how it might have played out. Presumably, the fight would have taken place in the audience chamber, with Raziel tricking Turel into charging the support pillars. Once all 4 pillars had been destroyed, the ceiling would collapse, and water from the reservoir above would have flooded the chamber, effectively killing Turel. Thus, Raziel's question prior to their battle is answered. Evidently, in all these years, Turel had not learned to swim. Following this fight, Raziel would have used an updraft from the top of the smokestack to glide to Kain's mountain retreat.
Wait, what kind of power would you absorb from Turel? Because from all the other brothers you would get something, but it doesn't seem like you would get anything from him.
Of course, none of this ends up happening, and instead in the retail version, after defeating Duma, Raziel confronts Kain at the chronoplast before pursuing him into Nosgoth's past. When Turel was removed from the game, parts of his dialogue were repurposed for the mini-boss battle with the Tomb Guardian, who happened to be an adult Terelim vampire, ordered by Kain to guard the tomb of the Seraphan.
Heretic, you shall not pass.
Such loyalty to one who has you guarding this outpost like a chained dog. Do you prosper on the scraps he casts you?
You're in.
It doesn't work. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work with this this guardian of the tomb of the Seraphim. It doesn't work. No. It works with Turel, but not with this person. I'm sorry.
Selves will do nothing to blunt the agonies of your demise.
Kain killed me once. Behold the result. I have no more to fear from you.
Despite official sources referring to this character as the Tomb Guardian, he is often known by fans as Morlock, as this was the alias allocated to Turel, his clan, and his territory during the development of Soul Reaver. In H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, the Morlocks are a fictional branch of Homo sapiens who developed grotesque features and a savage lifestyle from dwelling too long underground. In designing the Turelan vampires, the developers likely referred to them as Morlocks on account of their striking resemblance to the creatures depicted in Wells' novel. As the highest ranking Turelan to feature in the game, as well as being the one Raziel acquires the powerful force projectile ability from, fans consider the Tomb Guardian special enough to at least justify having his own name. Although Turel did not make it into the final cut of the game, the developers had not forgotten about him. We would see Turel again, albeit the version we got wasn't something many people were expecting. When Raziel travelled back in time, he unearthed more of Turel's history as a human, along with his own. The human Seraphan Turel is shown with long black hair and a green garb, whilst wielding a trident. His helmet is ornamented with large horns, foreshadowing the physical traits of the vampire he would later become. In this age, Turel was very high up in the Seraphan chain of command. In fact, he was one of the 3 leaders of the elite warrior priests, subordinate only to Raziel and Malak. He was a particularly dutiful agent, and followed his master's plans without question and without any second thoughts. Whether his master at the time was Kain or the head of the Seraphan Order, it did not matter. Turel was loyal to a fault. The similarities between his personality as a Seraphan and as a vampire are picked up on by Raziel.
Get back to the pit you crawled from, demon.
And here at last was my brother Turel, who along with Duma would bear me into the abyss without questioning Kain's command. So dutiful and righteous, even as a vampire. I guess some habits die hard. The vampire Turel had eluded my vengeance. The Seraphan Turel would not.
His sheer loyalty and devotion to the Seraphan Crusade.
Little did he know that he would be the one creating the vampire Turel at that moment when he was fighting against him.
Is likely the reason why Mobius entrusted him with his staff, allowing him to incapacitate Janos Audrin during the Ancient's execution. But Turel was also shown to be self-indulgent and prideful to the point of arrogance, choosing to personally engage with the Wraith Raziel in one-on-one combat, rather than electing the safer option of fighting him alongside his brothers. Raziel was pleased with his brother's overconfidence, as this meant he could finally avenge himself against Turel for his future actions, for having thrown Raziel into the abyss. Of course, this whole chain of events with the Seraphan Order sparked speculation among fans as to when we would get the long overdue encounter with the devolved vampire Turel. After Soul Reaver 2's initial release, some fans were concerned that Turel would never show up in his devolved vampire state, which led to chief writer for the series, Amy Hennig, addressing this publicly, going on record stating that we would definitely see Turel again, as he's a critical piece of the puzzle. A couple of years later, Legacy of Kain Defiance came out, and at last we got the devolved Turel. In the putrid depths of the Avernus catacombs, Raziel stumbles upon a strange ceremony. Masked humans, led by Mortanius, were engaged in a dark ritual, worshipping a god by the name of Hashai-Gig. From the edges of a huge pit, the faithful Cenobites praised Hashai-Gig, offering blood sacrifices to appease him and avert his wrath. Raziel creeps closer to the pit, inspecting the scene before him, when suddenly he is seized by some invisible force. He lands in the darkness below, but even in the gloom, Raziel can see that the pit is littered with the bones of hundreds of sacrifices. A large shape then begins to shuffle towards him, walking on all fours. When he appears, first-time players probably have no idea who or what this creature is, though it quickly becomes apparent he recognizes Raziel somehow. And then he mentions the Abyss from Soul Reaver 1, and suddenly, the whole scene takes an interesting turn.
Stand away, monster!
No. That voice. Not possible. I know that voice. But he fell. The Abyss. He ended there.
I did not fall into the Abyss.
Oh, it remembers that, does it?
I was thrown in by my own brethren.
I heard what you did to them. And now, you have found me at last.
Turel!
Turel! Yes, that was my name then.
The others were grotesque, but...
Yes, I am changed.
He's huge though. Really.
I have become a god. Greater than you ever were, Raziel.
I mean, his head is the size of Raziel already. Just the head alone. Oh.
You were never a god. Greater even than Kain.
It is to you that these humans offer their blood sacrifices?
Geek. Geek. Yes.
But how did this happen?
I was summoned. There was darkness and great hunger. And then I was found.
Why do you stay in this terrible place?
Why stay? Would I remain if I could get out? While they hound me and tear at me and... The hour is at hand, as it was foretold.
Turel?
Use his voice to command the disciples above.
Is he possessed?
Which meant offerings to keep the host alive. He has been a durable vessel, but he can take us no further. You must prevail. The champion of our enemy draws near. No! I must have blood! Bring me blood! Or feel the wrath of your god. Yours. Yes, it will strengthen me against them.
What blood? I mean, do you see this guy? Do you see him? Oh yeah, you can't see. I think you're blind, yeah. Yeah, alright. Good luck trying to suck out the blood from this guy.
A few things to note here. Turel is almost completely blind. When Raziel sidesteps to move away from Turel's path, his ears twitch in response, leading us to conclude that he doesn't see Raziel, but hears the small sound of...
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. I just saw the eyes, the pupils. They looked, like someone who was blind. So that's how I assumed that the guy kind of looks like he's blind. But now that Strictly Fantasy is also talking about how his ears are, standing to attention, just listening out. Like a what do they call it? A caracal? You know that cat with the very long ears? I think they call it a caracal or something like that. Caracal. You know what? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
his brother's footsteps as he adjusts to track him. Turel is able to determine Raziel's identity and position using only his hearing and sense of smell. This type of trade-off, losing one sense in favour of another, had a precedent in Rahab, who lost his resistance to sunlight but gained immunity to water. Like Raziel, Turel has assumed the characteristics of a bat over centuries of evolution, but unlike his brother who developed wings, Turel's evolutionary path instead pushed him towards the gradual decline of his sight in exchange for telekinetic powers and enormous ears, granting enhanced hearing. Raziel can hardly believe it when his brother reveals himself, and we are left wondering as to just how Turel came to be here in this time period.
A flightless bat is still extremely dangerous. I mean, look at this guy.
We're not given a clear-cut answer in the game, only the ramblings from the vampire himself, who appears to have gone a bit mad. But in a Q&A with Aiming Hennig, it is confirmed that Azimath, Guardian of the Pillar of Dimension, had stolen a time-streaming device from Mobius to bring Turel back in time from the Soul Reaver era to the Blood Omen era. Obviously, this raises more questions, like at what point did he get brought back into the past? Was it before or after Raziel pursued Kain through the Chronoplast? Well, we have an answer for that also. Given his comments on the fate of Kain's other lieutenants, and that he had heard about what Raziel did to them, this pretty much confirms that Turel was left behind, unharmed in the corrupted future, where he reigned over Nosgoth during a period of darkness and great hunger. Amy goes on to state that Turel's presence in Avanas was deliberately left vague, so that a future game could cover it if desired, which is very interesting because it sounds like she's suggesting that had there been another installment, part of it might have taken place in the post-Soul Reaver 1 era. The implication being that there was a chance that we may have gotten to see Turel vanish from the distant future as he was summoned by members of the Circle using their dimensional and time-travelling powers. While we know the Death Guardian Mortanius served the Hilden before eventually plotting against them, it is speculated that Azimath also served this banished race. This would explain her fondness for summoning demons from other realms. Her summoning of Turel to this time and place was carefully calculated on the part of her Hilden masters, for his imposing presence impressed the Cenobites, and as he was an immortal vampire, he was a durable host who wouldn't be used up by aggressive possession. As the pretender god Hashagig, Turel's behaviour became vicious and malevolent. In time, his vanity grew so big that it almost consumed him entirely. He took great pride in the belief that neither Raziel nor even Kain had ever achieved the power he did. However, the Hilden frequent possessions continued to eat away at his sanity, and he became increasingly deranged. Considering he is only a mouthpiece for the Hilden and is a prisoner against his will, I believe he never took any genuine satisfaction in his current circumstances, and would have escaped had he the means to. Years of imprisonment and being worshipped as an idol haven't done wonders for his mental state by any means. He became so unhinged that immediately following his possession by a few Hilden, he forgets who he's talking to and crazedly attacks Raziel without appreciating the fact that the Wraith no longer has blood he can feed on. During their battle, Turel used several telekinetic barrages against Raziel. For the most part, his brawn served him well, and he made use of claw swipes and wild charges. However, by striking the Gons in the pit, Raziel was able to turn Turel's sensitive hearing against him. The giant Gons were likely put there by the cult as a way of keeping Turel under their control, and Raziel exploited this. In his final moments, it looked like Turel willingly embraced his fate, but before he died, he was possessed by the Hilden once more, encouraging Raziel to hurry in his endeavour to fight the champion of their enemy. With Turel's demise, Raziel devoured his brother's soul, gaining enhanced telekinesis. With it, he also absorbed a measure of Hilden energy, which fueled his rage in his subsequent confrontation with Kain. That's all from me for now. What do you think of Turel's character? In particular, which version of Turel do you prefer? His Soul Reaver 1 model, or his counterpart in Defiance? Let me know down in the comments. Well, this concludes the character studies for Raziel's Vampire Brothers. I'm not done with making lock videos by any means, and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys what I have planned next for this series. The next one's probably my most ambitious Legacy of Kain video yet, so if you enjoy my content and are keen to stick around for more, then hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
Okay guys, that's it with Legacy of Kain, Turel, a character study by Strictly Fantasy. Turel, out of all the other brothers, he was controlled by the Helgen, right? He was not totally free. He went mad, more so than all the other brothers, you know. They all thought that they were more powerful than Raziel, you know, and I don't think any one of them actually got close enough to be, you know, as powerful as Raziel or as powerful as Kain. You know, they all failed in that attempt, I think. But this brother was important Turel was important because he also controlled, well, he was governing the industrial heartland of the vampiric race, you know, and he was also guarding the chimney that created the smoke that blotted out the sun on Nosgoth, which allowed the vampires to walk during the day. So this brother had a lot of responsibility, but you know, when Kain left the vampires to, you know, fend for themselves and decide what kind of future they want, this brother had his own ambitions like all the others, but then it seems like he's been taken from his time and put into different times. And you know, with me and time travel, I'm not really good with that stuff, so yeah, I'll just leave that stuff to Strictly Fantasy to further explain to us about what happened there. But yeah, this brother turned out not as hideous as Xenathon or as Malkaya. You know, he didn't look hideous compared to those guys. He was just a giant bat without wings, you know, but he had the flappy ears. But yeah, he was okay. He was okay. His abilities are cool, you know, telepathic abilities and sensitive hearing and smell as well. That was actually kind of interesting. And yeah, I think I like the newer version of Turel instead of the Legacy of Kain number 1. I don't really like him there, how he looked. It just didn't seem good. I don't know, but I like the newer version of him. Yeah, I like that one mostly. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it with all the brothers. My favorite brother has to be which one? I don't think I have a favorite brother. I liked Xenathon in the beginning, before he became that praying mantis kind of creature. No, I don't like him when he's like that. In his final form, no. I liked him when he was still, you know, like the rest of his brothers, just vampires, you know, following Kain and everything else like that. And you know how with his clan, they did not really promote, you know, confrontation, you know, directly with their competitors. They would use the shadows, and they'd use spies and espionage, and you know, collecting information on their enemies before attacking them, you know, kind of situation. I kind of liked where Xenathon's clan and where he was heading towards, you know, unlike his brothers. His brothers would see him as, you know, someone with no backbone, a coward, you know, doing things that have no honor and stuff like that. But you know, Xenathon did things that, you know, he knew best how to do. You know, he wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the smartest, but he made sure that with whatever he has, whatever abilities he has, he will use them to the fullest to sometimes defeat his enemies and sometimes misdirect his enemies to a different positioning. So yeah, I like Xenathon because of that, but not his final transformation. No. No, I'll never forget that he produces eggs, but oh gosh, like that was just weird. But guys, yeah, that's it for today with Strictly Fantasy. Next week we're gonna continue on. Like he said, he has other videos on his playlist, and I am going to be watching them as well. I hope to see you guys there. Remember, if you like the video, give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you next week Friday. Okay? Bye bye.